Bridges. Hart. Nice ball rotation and an oblique three. Rebound. Mathurin had it. Saved it. Loose. Vacuumed in. Hart. All the 50-50 balls here in Game 5. That's been a difference. You're right. Towns. Skies.
And that's the problem. You don't come up with that possession, and it's the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns. What a night.
We got ourselves a series after the Knicks taking Game 5. Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T. Nabil Kareem alongside Isiah Thomas and Steve Smith. We got complete post-game coverage coming up here on NBA TV. We're going to hear from the players and coaches as they come to the podium. But both of you guys called it. Both of you guys said the Knicks were going to win. And Isiah, you were saying you wanted to see them come out right from the get-go with that killer attitude, and they did.
And they did. Not only did they come out with the attitude, but I thought Brunson was brilliant because the way he started the game, the way the Knicks started the game, we talked about the killer attitude. And I think this game not only is a big confidence booster, but I also think it gives them momentum going into Game 6. And, you know, Game 5 is always a crucial game in the series. And most of the time when you Game 1, 2, you fill out. Game 3, 4, you fill out. But Game 5 is when the team really puts their stamp on the series. You know, and winning the game by the margin that they did here tonight, I do think it carries into Game 6. And I'm predicting the Game 7 back in the Garden.
Wow. Okay.
I'm with Isiah. I think they found something with the guys coming off the bench, picking up full court, putting pressure. I thought Josh Hart is back as far as his energy. He had 12 and 10. He had assists. He had steals. And Cat has finally said to himself, I'm just going to bully these guys. And that's what he's doing right now. And if he keeps that attitude, we all know he can knock down threes. He's a skilled player. But right now, these last two games, it looks like he's saying, whoever tries to guard me, I'm going to go through them, and I want to hit them first. The way he's playing right now is, I think, we stay out of foul trouble. That play right there showed me right there, Isiah, that you're going to put a small on me. Yeah. I'm going to try to elbow both of y'all.
In the
mouth.
Get a
bucket. In the mouth. Yes.
Yeah, either you're going to let me score or take this ball in the mouth.
DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, defensively, the way they're setting the tone coming off the bench, and they're getting points off the bench now. I think Tibbs has found something. Oh, yeah, I can play my bench now. Oh, yeah. And
a revelation.
And I think now is getting Brunson some rest, Towns some rest. Now everybody's active. Precious Achua's got to play. I mean, they are a complete team right now. Yeah, Indiana have to be a little careful. First 5 minutes of the next game.
Yeah, and what we talked about earlier was they got to pick Halliburton up early, which they did tonight, right? They didn't let him get off and get to the basket and do all the things that he was able to do the last game. So I thought putting pressure on him, they kept a body on him. They stayed close to him. They didn't let him get to, you know, his shot pocket, which he likes to do because he's got a different kind of shot where he needs time to get his shot off. So they kept him, they crowded him, and, you know, he didn't get many shot attempts. Now, he doesn't necessarily need a lot of shot attempts to win, but I thought they did a great job of controlling tempo where Halliburton normally controls tempo for the Pacers.
So is that a combination of the defense and maybe Halliburton not being as aggressive, or is that just
defense? Like Smitty and I talked about, right? They had him playing sideways most of the night. He wasn't looking over the floor.
No skipping.
He wasn't skipping.
No, I mean, look at the defensive pressure. Look how close they are to him. You know, and earlier we showed clips where he had space, he had distance. But now, you know, we always say you got to be close enough to touch or close enough to smell his breath, right? And right now, when you look at them, they're close enough to touch. And when you're close enough to touch, that offensive players got to play most of the game like this as opposed to playing like this. And when you got an offensive player playing like this instead of like this, you got him.
You know what's kind of crazy is that you look down the Pacers roster here. Nobody really had a great game. Ben Mathurin off the bench, you could say, 23 points in 25 minutes, maybe the best for the Pacers. But they still had a chance in this fourth quarter. And they cut it down to 12. And it's still 12. But, largely because Karl Anthony Towns took that foul, right? And when he was off, it really changed kind of the dynamic.
It did because he was having his way, and I think that was the one player other than Brunson. Brunson's going to get his, but they want to limit the second player. And Karl Anthony Towns came out playing like the first player, and I thought he set the tone. If he didn't get in foul trouble, they could have pushed his league. He got in foul trouble, gave them a little bit of I would say, a little light at the tunnel. But I thought Brunson, like Isiah said, at the beginning of the game, and in that third quarter, he's like, no, y'all going home.
Right.
And we're coming back to Indiana.
You know, I said to Smitty, the shots that Brunson was hitting, the way he was following through and the way it was going through the net, you know, sometimes the shot can say words to you, right? And the way he was letting it go and it was going through the net, he was telling that defender, you know what I mean? It was going through like with a message. It wasn't just a regular shot. It was going through like, you know what? You know? I can't say the word.
No. Oh, you did earlier.
I think y'all know what I mean. Yeah, y'all know what I mean. We don't need to do it twice.
Yeah. Pacers, 20 turnovers in this game. So again, a great job by the Knicks there. That's the most they've given up. All right, that's Coach Tibbs. Let's get to the highlight of the game from the beginning. The Knicks looking to become the fifth team to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the conference finals to force a game 7 at least. Karl Anthony Towns, great in this one. Jalen Brunson, Zeke, like you mentioned, was dialed in.
I mean, he's hit nothing but the bottom of the net. I mean, and every time he's knocking it down, right, he's shooting it with pressure in his face, and he's saying to the audience and he's saying to everybody in there, don't worry about it. We got this one.
More Towns here driving in speed, like you mentioned, right?
In the chest, through the chest, through everybody. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns played with force, a lot of force tonight.
Mikal Bridges, 12 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds in the game. The Knicks up 56-45 at the break. Still not safe at that point, but in the third, it's Brunson once again.
Look at that. Wow. Wow. I mean, it ain't touching nothing but the bottom of the net.
Towns getting past Siakam. Gets that to go Brunson.
Look. I mean, he everybody in his face. I mean, this is a attitude game, an attitude score for Brunson more than, you know, had anything to do with skill.
And Cat did not settle at all. I mean, he was putting pressure defensively. This was a complete game, one of the best games I've seen this Knicks team play overall.
Hey, the gangsters always win.
The Knicks extending this series. It's now 3-2 heading back to Indiana. Let's hear from Rick Carlisle. All right, that's Coach Jalen Brunson. Phenomenal in this game. 32 points on 12 of 18 shooting. When he comes to the podium, you'll see him here. All right, Ben Stiller. It's a good night for Ben Stiller.
Oh, it is, as you can see. Getting a hug from Shaq. He's looking like a little kid. That looks a little kid. He's happy. He's happy.
No doubt about that. As his Knicks win and extend this series out. One of the big things for the New York Knicks in this game, especially when you look at the Pacers here in the box score, they shot 40% in this game. The Pacers did 33 from 3. That Knicks defense, it just looked different in this game.
It was. I mean, it was up to touch, like Isiah said. It was physical. It was clicking because they had a game plan and where they were taking things away from the Pacers, and Halliburton was one of them. Even Karl Anthony Towns, there was no backing up. They get to switch. Brunson is going forward. Yes, he beats him, but there's help. And I love the contest on the shot, and then you can see the rebound. That's how you finish off defense. On this play right here, OG Anunoby jumps, but then they are saying, okay, somebody else is going to have to knock down shots. And he didn't go all the way, but you just love how they're switching, and it's out. Shamet was phenomenal. His defensive pressure and DeLon Wrights were totally different on this play. Both those guys set the tone, especially on this one. This is when coaches would want to run back in film session. It was unreal with Landry Shamet. He had energy. I love this one right here. No handoff. I'm going to hold you. There's nowhere to go. And then Mitchell Robinson, great anticipation, great hands, pressure, turnover, Miles Turner. And they had a lot of turnovers. Bridges on this one, but Mitchell Robinson, He's one of those guys right now, he's just creating havoc. Just effort. And you give effort like that, you're going to have good things happen, and they did tonight, too.
I mean, their defense was very sticky, as you said. And the effort was good, and it converted to the offense. And Indiana, as much as they tried to have ball movement, there was always a body in front of them. So they may have had ball movement, but they couldn't have body movement. And we saw everything was taken away. I thought New York was great tonight with the defensive pressure. Now can they take that on the road?
For the Pacers, they're 94 points in this game. It's the fewest they've scored in the postseason. So that's saying something about a team that obviously has no problem scoring. You know, you were mentioning earlier about momentum and it's shifting over, right?
Yeah.
From game to game. Well, momentum pressure, is that the same thing here? Because who's going to feel the pressure going into Game 6?
The pressure's on the home team. You got to win it. You got to win at home, right? So Indiana going back to Indiana for Game 6 closeout, right? You got to win at home. So the pressure's on Indiana right now to close out, win at home. New York is coming in after a great performance in Madison Square Garden. Now they go out on the road. They've gotten themselves together. And we talk about momentum. We talk about confidence. And Smitty can tell you this. In any series, all you have to do is win one game. And if you win one game, all of a sudden, that momentum swings. You feel a little bit better about your shot. Your food tastes a little better. You sleep a little better. Your pillow's a little softer, right? Everything is good, right? And when you lose, right, you don't eat as well. You're watching the film and you're thinking about what I could have done, what I should have did, and everything else. So the win gives you positivity. The losing gives you negativity. Like Rick Carlisle said, we didn't do a lot of things well tonight. So they'll go back and they'll watch everything negative, reinforce everything negative, where the Knicks will watch everything positive, reinforce everything positive. Game 6, positive meets negative, and we see who wins.
You live this. You live this with the Blazers, right? That you guys played the Lakers. I mean, when you won that game going into Game 6, I mean, as a player there, what's the mentality?
I think the mentality is right now is like the Knicks. We're going in and getting this game. I mean, that's the one thing. We didn't have home court advantage, so it was totally different. You know, Game 6 was in Portland, so it was a little bit more where we had the crowd behind us. We were juiced up, and we were saying we were coming to get Game 7. We were going to win this game. That's what we kept saying. But what I look at it right now is the rhythm of Coach Thibodeau right now is 11 deep. He's going right now.
Yeah, it ain't 5 no more.
There's no more 5. He went 11. And so, and obviously the last guy played only 40 seconds, but I've never seen more than 8. And like right now, he's going McBride, Hart, Wright, Shamet, and Precious Achua. This is totally different right now. So they feel good as well, and he feels good looking down there if anybody's in foul trouble to pull in one of those guys to play.
Like you were mentioning, Landry Shamet put 14 minutes. Really good minutes,
great
right?
14 minutes from Shamet.
Yeah, 5 points for him, but the energy and the defense really standing out. We're waiting on Jalen Brunson to come to the podium, but this is what he had to say with Allie LaForce after the game.
This game didn't come down to a handful of possessions. Why was tonight so different?
I mean, we were just able to get stops early, run, able to convert, and we just found a way.
Your defense completely rattled them from start to finish. What were the changes that you made, or how did you execute better to take them totally out of their game plan?
I just feel like we just played better. We played better. We played to our standards, and we got to give them a lot of credit for the way they play, but we played Knicks basketball tonight.
Looking ahead to Game 6, you guys have confidence on the road. Does the pressure shift for you, or did you never feel the pressure in the first place?
Just focus on one thing at a time, one quarter, and we go from there. Focus on the first quarter.
Enjoy this one. We'll see you in Indy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Jalen.
it.
Oh, the legend right there.
Damn.
Looking good.
Boy, how you put that together?
You got to be a legend to pull that thing
Color
off right there.
coordinated.
And it always seems to work for him.
Yes.
Everything works.
It just seems to work for him.
The tie matched the shirt and the jacket. You said that's 2 negatives. It made a positive.
Pascal Siakam, a little fired up, is probably as fired up as you're going to see Pascal Siakam, with the media. The question there, obviously, about how a team can be outwork you in a situation like this. I mean, as players, if you got that question, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, he answered it the right way. And this is what we talked about earlier, right? The will to survive will always be a stronger energy than the will to kill, right? And in a game like this, and we talk about energy, passion, emotion, where the fans understand it analytically through numbers. But when you hear players talk, right, we say they played harder, they had more energy. And the Knicks came with survival energy. And the Pacers came with, we trying to kill, right? But the killer never has, more energy than somebody who's willing to survive, right? And normally what you would see in a game like tonight, if the Pacers trying to put them away and they come with force and energy, you're hoping that the survivor, the team who's trying to survive, you hope they give up. But if they don't give up, their energy, you can't match their energy. Now, going back to Indiana, this is where I'm saying this could possibly go 7 because the Knicks are still coming with survival energy. And the Pacers will be at home, but right now the survivor has got up off the mat and he's shaking off the cobwebs. And he's like, okay, I got hit hard, but I ain't dizzy no more. And by the way, I can take a punch. That's a dangerous opponent.
Yeah, and I look at it just kind of Isiah. We all look at it, and I thought, we use football, I'm going to use boxing. They came out, and the Knicks was hitting. And then the Knicks had to take a break, whether it's subs or timeout. But then Landry Shaman and DeLon Wright just continued that hitting. And I think it just energized the fans, energized everybody. And Josh Hart was Josh Hart again. And this is a guy, I never question him because he can't stay at this, the way he plays. Yeah. He's had a couple lows, but he had the right highs in this game because he didn't want to go home. And I think Pascal Siakam, I'm with Isiah. He just said they played harder. They played hard as well. They didn't play as hard. And then also Brunson set the tone as the best player. Versus your best player, I beat him today. Right. The other day, Halliburton said, I beat you. Brunson said, I beat you today, but I just didn't beat you. It wasn't close.
Yes.
That's the difference.
It
wasn't close.
Yeah.
So now, Halliburton got to respond.
I got confidence. And again, so the fans, why do we call them fans, right? Because they're fanatical, right? And the game, it elicits emotion. It elicits passion. It elicits all the things that make you angry, that make you want to fight, that the fans are like, oh, boo, what, right? This is what the playoffs bring out of you, right? And trying to match and control that energy, this is what players play with. This is what they talk about. So when Pascal say, hey, they got to play harder than we did, right? That's not a knock. That's a compliment to the opponent who was trying to survive, and we couldn't kill him, right, with our play. Because so you compliment him saying, hey, that guy took a punch, so I got to respect him. Right. And the reporter at that time, he wasn't understanding the energy flow of conversation that the player was trying to express to him.
Right. And as you guys mentioned, Tyrese Halliburton's got to respond. All right, this is really impressive. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are the first teammates to score 20-plus in the first 5 games of a conference final since Kobe and Shaq back in 2002. Knicks fans hoping that's 6 straight games as we have a Game 6 on Saturday, that going 8 Eastern on TNT. You get some closing thoughts here. So I know you guys have said, hey, the momentum, it's in New York's favor. The pressure's now on the Pacers. Let's look at it from a Pacers perspective as we leave here. How do they get it done?
They have to win. And they have to win, and Halliburton has to be more of an offensive threat than he was tonight. And the only way they can do that is he's got to take more shots. And if he takes more shots, then consequently others won't get as involved. But he's got to be a focal point of the offense in terms of carrying the offense, in terms of points. I don't know if he'll be able to do that Saturday night.
And I look at it as for the entire Pacers team, whatever you do well, it has to start from the jump, from the bell. Can't wait. If you're a defensive player, you got to set the tone how you're going to play defense, Neesmith. Might pick up some fouls. Yep. If you're Miles Turner, you shoot threes, you rebound. You got to set that tone on what you do. Everybody has a role, and Halliburton has to set the tone as one of the best players. Siakam, ultra aggressive going to the bucket. It has to be collisions at the beginning to see if you can set the tone. You can draw a foul. If I can drive it and draw a foul first, I'm just trying to win. And then I think Rick Carlisle has to be ultra aggressive. I didn't see the Pacers as a team that usually pick up 94 feet. Mm-hmm. They wasn't doing it as much. They did it in that third quarter and fourth quarter where they got some momentum. They have to do that from the jump.
They got to take care of the basketball.
Yeah.
20 turnovers in this game led to 15 points. That's uncharacteristic for them.
You know, Brunson said it best, right? And he said, attention to detail. The Knicks paid attention to detail. What does that mean? They were close enough to touch. There were no slippage defensively. Consequently, they were able to create 19, 20 turnovers, get into the open court. The little things make the difference between success and failure in Game 6 and Game 7. And those little things is concentration right now. Can you concentrate on every single play? And can you concentrate with intensity and energy? Can you bring intensity, concentration, and energy to every play with attention to detail? If you can do that, then you got a chance to win.
4 teams have forced a Game 7 after trailing 3-1 in the conference finals. We talked about Smitty's Trailblazers back in 99-2000. The only team to have won was the Warriors, beat the Thunder back in 2015, 2016. So it's doable. I was cheering for your guys, by the
Whichever team is going to be a wolf.
Yeah, what kind of wolf they going to be, Smith?
Ain't no dog. I'm a wolf, baby. I'm a wolf. Jerry West say the wolves. No